But we're lucky today to have a couple of special guests to really talk about this lifestyle experience. Um, Now, in full disclosure, both of both of these guests actually work for Dealer Profit Services, but that's not why they're here today. Our first guest is Mike Chappell, and Mike is a new or fairly recent boat owner, boat buyer. Um, hey, Mike, thanks for giving us a few minutes to talk about this today.
I enjoy it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's just get right into it. You bought a boat. You made what can only be termed as a lifestyle decision. So talk to me a minute about what that really means to you, why it's a lifestyle purchase, and yeah, what lifestyle means to you.
So I, I think this is a great question just in general, and it's really pertinent that uh, I had the opportunity to share this with you because any other industry I've ever been in, what we tend to do is we forget what it's like to be a customer. And I've been a customer so recently that it's really kind of helping me in my day to day. So I'm going to give you a bucket of an answer for a teaspoon of a question here. I actually studied recreation. Literally, I have a bachelor's in recreation. So for us, for my wife and I've always looked at recreation as a very important thing in life. And the term actually recreate, the action of recreating, that's kind of the root of it, is built around the fact that people, we work hard, we have stress, we have all these things going on in life. When we spend our time recreating, it's very, very mentally and physically important that it's fruitful in its outcome, recreating us, re-preparing us for that next day of work or that next week at work. So for us, like a lot of people who have kids, we got sucked into the sports all the time thing. Our recreation was really around sports for kids, which had nothing to do with us. I mean, other than going and cheering, the people you hang out with are your sports parent friends, and you coach, so you hang out with the other coaches. Uh, as far as quality of life recreation goes, we got sucked into that, full steam. And this was actually a trend that I learned about way back when I was studying for my undergraduate. Recreation programs in general are the first programs to be cut when a government budget gets short. And so the recreation industry in the 90s and early 2000s realized, boy, if we could just have these programs pay for themselves, we could just do them year round. And so now you have for kids, instead of a basketball season, you have basketball all year, you have soccer all year. And it's created this trend of recreation that is a lifestyle of, overbooking, busyness, stressed out children, stressed out parents, nobody really getting the fruit of the labor for what they're doing. So with that background in mind, our kids finally got to an age where, we know that neither of them are going to the NBA or the NFL or, whatever. They're not going to be playing in the World Cup. They've chosen some sports that they enjoy. The time, increment is smaller now. And so we started talking about, what are we going to do with our time? How do we want to spend these last, I got an eighth grader and a junior. How are we going to spend these last years with them and then actually ensure that in future years, our kids want to come back and visit us and be around us? And so we get what I call the big XL moment. Generally about 2 or 3 times a year, we go out with some friends on the lake, the Ozarks in Missouri. And there's this moment when you're out on the lake and you're relaxed and everything melts away. And it happened to us every single time we went out. And every time we went out, we always talked about, well, what if we got a boat? Well, the talking stopped last summer. And it was a lifestyle choice because when I go out there with my friend Doc, he's the one that had the boat and would have us out there. And I would say, you guys use this quite a bit. And he said, look, when I made this decision to do this, and he has plenty of money, he can do whatever he wants and go on vacations. He said, I made a decision. I'm not going to have a boat and a lake house and all this stuff if we're not going to use it. So as a family, they came together, they discussed, this is what we do. When summer comes, we're not We're not going to go on vacations here and there. We're not going to drive to this and that. We're lake people. And so for them, it was a lifestyle decision. And I kind of had that understanding. So this last summer, or the start of it, right before this last summer, as the pandemic hits, my wife and I get to talking about it. And we decided, you know what, for the kids aspect, the social aspect, the relaxation aspect, like everything involved pointed to the fact that we would be best served in our recreation to put our time and energy into boating. And so that's what we did.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So so now you've got this great new lifestyle. So tell me about your experience at the dealership. Did they were they able to really help you envision and help you imagine this lifestyle? Or were they able to enhance the experience for you?
Yeah, actually, we visited two dealerships. Both were very, very helpful. I have a background in the auto industry, so I've taught salesmen, and I'm schooled in that way of doing things, and frankly, I don't enjoy that. So I really kind of went into the dealership, more apprehensive than most would be. I was expecting that other experience that I'd been so familiar with. The first dealership that we went to, we had looked for used boats, and I told my wife, let's go to a dealership and let's talk to a guy about some new boats, and maybe they might even shed some light on what kind of boat is the boat for us. Because my wife thought she wanted a runabout type of boat. I thought I needed a wake boat, and the dealer was actually able to talk to us about what are our goals out on the water, like what is our plan. I like to fish, but this isn't what this is about. It's not our plan for this. So we get to talking, and one thing leads to another. Because we're social, really the only water sports we're going to participate in are, pulling some kids on tubes. Um, we kind of told them the lake that we were planning on doing most of our laking at, and they guided us towards a tri-tune. Now, I feel a little bit guilty because I didn't buy the tri-tune there. There was another dealer that came very highly recommended, and we were discussing, whether or not we wanted to go up there because it was about a 45-minute hour drive. And so we were really busy one night. We called the dealer, and he's like, "Yeah, just come up. We can show you some boats and see what you think." The crazy thing is the boating lifestyle and boat dealerships kind of go hand in hand. I never experienced any pressure. It was always discussions about imagining how we're going to use the boat and things to know about boating, from an owner's perspective. Like it was all mentally putting me in that lifestyle. And the irony is when I was in the car business, that's what I used to teach people to do so they didn't sound like creepy salesmen. Well, boat dealers do this naturally because that's what they're doing. They're helping a person understand a lifestyle, and whether it's understanding pulling a boat, how to take care of one, safety, like all of these questions were coming about. Boats are fairly simple as far as styling and performance goes, I guess, but I needed to know so much more. They were helping me understand all these parts of the boating lifestyle. I mean, if you don't have your boat staying in the water normally, just the etiquette at the dock or the put in, that's a part of the lifestyle that's somewhat comic and fun to watch. And more so, I didn't say this before, but I was going to share with regards to the lifestyle at this point after our first summer out. We literally go out every single Saturday. We've made friends on the lake. We've figured out which of our friends are not lake people because we go all day and they're usually ready to go home. But we generally hit the lake, before noon. We do all the water sports, the pulling, the tubing and all that. We have a beach that we beach up with about 60 of our, other boater friends. There's frisbees, our dogs come out, we have lunch. It's an all day event. Then at the end of the day, we go to a marina that has a live band for free every Saturday. We have dinner, And as the sun's already gone down and it's, pitch black darkness out, we go on a bit of a midnight cruise, 10 o'clock midnight cruise, and then we come home. It is literally for us all encompassing on the weekends, and we love every minute of it. So anyway.
That's awesome. Maybe you could adopt me. It sounds like fun. So there's somebody that Sam Dantzler of Garage Composites actually talks about the difference between selling in a need industry versus selling in a want industry. And clearly recreation is a want industry. But you did finance your boat. I know that because you were our customer at that point.
Yes.
Tell me about the F&I experience generally, and do you think did that serve to reduce any of the lifestyle feelings, or did it help? Just tell me what your experience was around the actual kind of business side of this lifestyle purchase.
So this is another scenario where I completely had my dukes up. I've written a book on F&I and how to sell F&I products. So, I went in thinking that I was going to be sat at the dealership for 3 hours while the guy pitches products and grinds on me and all this stuff. And ironically, I already believed in all the products because I sold them for so long. I saw the value. But no, great part of buying a boat is that you're not taking the boat home the day that you see it and like it. You're also busy, and this is where I think we need to understand our customers much better. We didn't have time. Really, the night that we went to look at the boat that we ended up buying, we really didn't have time to do it. We had so many things going on. It was a jump in the car, shot up there. We probably had 30 minutes to spend talking about the boat, maybe a little bit more. And then, we got some kind of preliminary numbers, no pressure from the dealer, and we had to go. So that was kind of where buying a boat fit into our busy lifestyle. Even though we wanted one so bad, it was such a hard thing to commit the time to. And keep in mind, in my mind, I was thinking this is going to be a 4-hour, 5-hour at the dealership affair. So the way that dealer profit, or at least the financing part of things, worked out for me was, one, that stuff was going on and I was back at my normal life. I had things to do. I work, my wife works, we got other things going on. So it was happening without me sitting there waiting for it to happen. Then Rusty called me, and of course, Rusty and I are great friends now. But at the time, it was fantastic because he was asking me initially, if I'd ever bought a boat before. And I said, no, we've been boating for years with friends, and we're finally, this is it, And he was so encouraging. He completely understood, because Rusty's a boater, but he understood and conveyed with me like his excitement for it. And so we were talking about boating. I even asked him a few literally questions about, the things that are required in boats and stuff like that. He was able to have those conversations with me and really reassured me about it being, a purchase I would never regret, because, everybody tells you, oh, the best day to have a boat's the first and last and all that dumb stuff. Well, they're not boaters. They don't have the boat gene. So we got to have those talks. I mean, literally, I think we were on the phone for maybe 15 or 20 minutes during my introductory phone call. We talked finance maybe for 2 of those 15 minutes. For me, it was really helpful. And then also when he called back and we went over the terms and we discussed, service contracts and things of that nature, I hadn't even really looked closely at my paperwork. I didn't realize that the motor was half the price of the boat for the most part. So, stuff like that was super helpful, but we were on that level where we could just really have those talks. For people buying boats these days, it's important that we understand how busy they are and how really making the purchase convenient is it's the utmost importance at this time. Like, people are just too busy. We have to make the purchases really easy for them.
Well, thanks, Mike. Those are some really, really great insights. And well, welcome to the lifestyle. And
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. But
so,
one more thing I was going to
yeah.
say about that too. When we actually went to the dealership to go fill out our, sign our paperwork, one great thing about it was, much like the first day we went there, we didn't have much time. So when we got to the dealership, it was so much better for us in a busy life, 2 kids at home, what's for dinner scenario. We came in, we signed our paperwork. That took like 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. It was already ready. We did all that. We spent the rest of our time at the dealership getting ready to be boat owners. And we went out on the water. They took us on the boat and showed us all that's what the delivery should have been about. If we had been at the dealership for hours before that, I guarantee you I would have cut that short. And I personally would not have taken the time to allow them to do their job. And they did a great job.
Well, that's fantastic. That's really awesome. Well, again, I appreciate you spending just a few minutes and sharing your kind of personal lifestyle experience and what it means to you. I think it's going to be very helpful for dealers to hear this and understand what they're doing to really benefit the people who are coming to them. It really is a totally different purchase, being in a want industry versus being in a need industry. And I think you're a great illustration of that. So I appreciate it. Thanks very much, Mike.
Thank you, Merle.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we've got our guests today, and as I also mentioned earlier, both of them actually work for Dealer Profit Services, but that's not why they're here. Our next guest is Rusty Walker, and he has tremendous experience in both the automotive space and the recreational industry. And I thought for this subject about lifestyle and about how that relates to F&I and F&I Profit, there's nobody in the industry that's probably more knowledgeable than Rusty. So Rusty, thank you very much for taking a few minutes, spending it with us today.
Thank you, Merle. I appreciate it.
So, as an F&I, as a finance manager or a business manager, you feel a certain amount of pressure, even in the rec industry, to absolutely maximize profit. So my question for you to start with is, how do you go about balancing the needing to maximize profit without spoiling that lifestyle enthusiasm and lifestyle excitement the customer's feeling?
That's a great question, Merle. Actually, maximizing the F&I profit is kind of a result of maintaining that lifestyle attitude. It's kind of like the cart before the horse, I think. The F&I, the business office, I think if we look at it, it's just part of the sales process. The sales department has already done most of the work. They've actually established that lifestyle feeling and message and done pretty much all the push-ups or the hard work. They've built rapport with a customer. They've picked out a boat. They've gotten a relationship. They have actually created that emotional high with the customer to get the customer on that high. I mean, let's face it, it's the number one, best thing that the customer's bought maybe in his life. So that emotion is what we thrive on. This is a lifestyle. This is just a fun time. So really, it's just a matter in the business office of kind of like not messing it up because, the customer's already coming in that way. So really, it just starts with a great attitude from the business office or the business manager standpoint. So I would say starting off just with a great introduction as far as a hello with a big smile and just a continuation of the same process that the sales department does with a happy, congratulatory, thanks for doing business attitude, just to continue that same feeling that the customer already has. And then my job or the business office job is just to keep them there. Second is to explain our role in the business office in order to put that customer at ease. Probably the biggest fear at that point on the business side or on the finance side is them just wondering what's going to happen. So our job is to explain to the customer that we take their loan very seriously and that we're going to only send their loan application to a few lenders, that this isn't the car business, that we don't send their loan out to numerous lenders and get that information sent to a bunch of people and get a lot of dings on their credit, those things they fear, that we're only going to send it to a few, give them the very best possible rates and terms, and then that we're going to contact them personally, that I am their personal contact person to answer any of their questions, to get them their best possible terms and rates just as quickly as possible. The whole idea is to get them totally at ease so that they're not concerned or worried. And then, of course, the salespeople and the managers are at ease as well. So the whole idea is just to keep everyone at ease and also emotionally still high and excited and can't wait to get their new boat.
That's great. When I talked to Mike earlier, and then when I spoke with Paul Sheldon from FPC Protective, they both talked about the fact that the F&I experience is a continuation, like you were just saying, of the sales experience, and that their experience a lot of the time really is more than talking about rates and terms and protective products. It actually is lifestyle conversations. It's about boating. And is that your experience as well?
Well, absolutely. Number one is because we are boaters. I'm smiling because we are. And we do share that. We call it the water gene, is what we talk about. And it is something because we can compare stories and we can't wait to get on the water. We talk about it all the time. And you just can't talk enough about it because we're making memories in life. We're selling fun from the beginning. We get carried away when we start talking about finance and money and all that. This is just another step in the process. And actually, to be honest with you, we should remember that it's the final step in the delivery process. And it's actually a privilege when it comes down to it to be the last one that gets to say goodbye at the end.
So I know you've worked on both the automotive side and on the recreation side. How would you compare the experience and what the customer can expect when they're buying a car versus when they're buying a boat or an RV?
As far as the customer experience in the business office, the sales process or the closing or the selling of the products is different, mainly because in the automobile industry, it's just a different level. They put a lot of pressure on the business manager to sell those products because they have to. They're required to sell those items, and they put a lot of pressure on the customer that they need to buy them. They're pressured into buy them. It's a high pressure type of sell. As most people know, they're scared to go in there. It's a high pressure kind of intense kind of buy till you die kind of attitude. I hated it. Most people do. Totally opposite in our industry. We have very good high benefit products that protect our investment. These are high end I'm not going to call them toys because these are fun, high-end.
Boys.
We want,
Awesome.
pardon me. And we want to take care of these investments. These are things we want them looking well. These are high-end engines. These are high rev, very expensive pieces of machinery. We want to take care of them, make sure they run properly and look right. We want to take care of them. So it's our job to make sure we offer the items that will take care of them and protect them for long term. And it's our job to make sure we know what's available, and our customers want to know, and it's up to them to decide whether or not it makes sense for them. Fortunately, what we find is most people want to know what's available, and we pleasantly find out that the majority of people want them. So it's totally a different game between what the automotive side of what people feel like they need to have, and then what people want to have. And it's totally a different ballgame.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So I think you've touched on this already, but if you were going to be giving advice to owners and GMs and finance managers about how to maximize your F&I profit while still sustaining all that excitement and enthusiasm that the customers come in with because they're excited about this lifestyle, what would be your advice, your best advice on maximizing profit and at least sustaining, if not increasing, their lifestyle enthusiasm?
My dad used to say it's simple, but it's not easy. Really two things. First, 100% buy-in of your total sales department from owner to salesperson in a sales process. And I know that sounds easy, but it's not. But that includes 100% TO of your customers to a business office or a business manager, just that easy. That's 100% buy-in of a process, of which 100% of those people get to a business office or a business manager. So that right there will make sure that F&I gets maximized. And then the second item is a well-trained business manager to make sure we deliver a maximum protection package on each and every deal. So if all of our customers get to the business manager, and then each time a customer gets served a product that's been well thought out, put together each time, then I can guarantee we'll maximize our penetration each time. And then the third thing, and probably the most important, is that this is probably one of the happiest days of your customer's life. And if we can remember that each time and that smile comes across, whether we make a nickel or not, that customer's happy when he leaves, he will come back and he will share that memory with every other customer and friend that he's with on the water, and you will get more money, more customers, and they'll come back. Because this is a fun business, and that's what we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's not many people who are lucky enough to sell fun every day.
That's a fact. And me doing it for 25 years and sitting behind that desk, that's the kind of feeling we get. And we are very lucky to do that.
That's awesome. That's great advice. And it's a great thing, I think, for everybody listening to this to keep in mind that this really is about selling fun. And
it is.
And it's about making sure that the customer understands that we really have their best interests at heart so that they have fun. Even when the inevitable happens and things break, we just want them to have everything at their fingertips so that they can keep having fun no matter what happens.
And no more than in this day and age, right, Merle? I mean, you just can't knock the smile off their faces. And that's just a great thing because moving forward, they're coming back and they're going to send their friends. And it's just all awesome.
Yep, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. Well, thanks, Rusty. I appreciate you taking a few minutes and sharing your expertise. You've been awesome as expected. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll do it again.
Absolutely.